Hey everybody, Kalani here, and I've been wanting to have a flute stand like this for quite a while to display and to make my flutes readily available. And I just made this stand, and this video is about how I made it. So keep watching, and you can make one of these yourself with a few tools. Pretty simple. I'm going to show you how I did it right now. All right. Ooh, my car's dirty. I just got back from Home Depot and Harbor Freight. There's some shop lights. I'm going to put those up. You got to have some pliers. But this is the stuff I got to make flute stand. So I got some MDF. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Some of this. And I got some dowels. And I've got some drill bits. And I got some glue. Gorilla Glue. I hear it's good for your hair. I heard that anyway. Maybe I'll try that later. I got some feet. You know, I'm ready to go. I do have some, got a paintbrush. I got some polyurethane, but it rolled up to the front when I stopped my car, so it's nuts over there somewhere. I'll find it. All right, let's go in and get this stuff ready and set up. All right, so I'm in my little side yard woodworking area. Thank you, Harbor Freight. Thank you, Harbor Freight. Thank you, Harbor Freight. Thank you, Harbor Freight. And oh, thank you, Harbor Freight. And I've got 3 different sizes of flutes. Here's a bass E, here's an A, here's a C, and then of course they are different size bores. I'm not trying to overthink this too much, but so I got 5/8 dowel for the smaller flutes, and I got 7/8 dowel for the bass flutes, and I have determined there's somebody in the distance doing woodworking. It's got to be the day. Maybe it's the weather. Beautiful day. So I determined that about 6 inches high is enough for the smaller flutes. You know, if you're going to put that down on a dowel, you know, that's fine. And I think it's okay for these the mid range, because they're about, you know, roughly the same length, even from C to A is not that far. So that should work okay, about 6 inches. And then for the bass flute, obviously it's going to need to be more. So I'm thinking more like 8. That's about 8 right there. So looks like about a little more than 1/3 of the way up the flute body. And then I'll use, of course, the bigger dowel for the bigger flute. So my plan is to take this 2x4, 2 feet by 4 feet sheet of MDF and cut a rectangle like that. That's pretty much big enough to do. I think maybe I'll do 3 rows. I'll see if I can do 3 rows of dowels in about 1 foot. And then if I do 1 foot and 1 foot and 1 foot and 1 foot, then obviously I can use this entire sheet and make a couple stands, because I want to have 2 pieces of this, 2 rectangles per stand, for stability reasons. So let's get that done. So first I'm going to cut this in 4 1-foot rectangles. So I'm going to just cut like that, 2, 3, and then I'll have 4 pieces. Okay, before we get too far down the road here, I want to do the obligatory what you will need to complete this project shot. So I got my brush, got my polyurethane, water-based, got some feet here. They say clear bumpers. I guess there's kind of clear, yeah. Wood glue. I've got this thing, metal thing. And I've got this set of Forstner bit set. Forstner. I feel like I'm forcing myself to say that. I do have a drill press. You don't have to have a drill press, but I'm going to use it for the Forstner bit set. And that's about it. I got over here, I've got the, you know, a tape measure. I got my parts, of course, the dowel, the MDF wood. And that's about it. So, you know, maybe some miscellaneous screws. I might use some screws to hold it together. We'll see. I don't know. But that's all you need. You don't need a whole lot of stuff. And I'm also using a handheld saw. I'm using a skill saw. I tried to buy a table saw, but they were out of them. So I would prefer to have a table saw to make cutting this a little bit easier. And you can see I marked my 3 lines on here, 1 foot apart, so now there's 4 sections. So we're going to cut that with the skill saw. You could use a hand saw, you know, use the best saw that you have and cut that sucker into 4 pieces.
Be sure to wear your goggles and hearing protection. I should have been also wearing a dust mask, but I walked away. But wear a dust mask. You don't want to breathe this stuff, all right? Dust, mask.
Okay, so one of the things that I noticed is that there is a limitation to how deep I can drill into the wood this way with this drill press. Obviously I can't go any farther than that, and so this line is 4 inches from the edge, or a third of the way, and I can do the same thing on the other side. So then I've got actually 4 inches in the middle, and I went 1.5. So actually this works out pretty well, because I can do small flutes on the ends, which is where you'd want those anyway because they're shorter. So I got 1.5 inches, and then I have 2.5 inches, and then I have 4 inches, and then I have the same thing over here, 1.5 inches, 2.5. So I'll put the bass flutes in the middle, which makes sense, and then I'll have 2 rows of posts for smaller flutes. So right now I've got all 4 lines drawn, and then I'm going to do my offset, and I'll figure that out. How that can be symmetrical, because symmetrical is important for some of us. Okay, this is what I've come up with in terms of a pattern, and don't ask me what the measurements are because I lost track. But what I can tell you is that I left more space in the middle. So these 2 rows are basically the same, the middle 2 rows, and it's not exact. It's just I'm just eyeballing this mostly, but got about 1.5 inches, and then like 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 1.5 inches for the smaller flutes, and then the same thing over here. So these 2 rows are the same towards the middle, and these are for the bigger flute, and then as we get to the edges, I have room for the smaller flutes, and then in the middle, even smaller. So, you know, we'll just see what happens. But I've been checking with these, like, I'm not going to leave that there, but that's, you know, that's plenty of space, I think, around each flute. And then for the small flutes, even here, you know, I think that's plenty of room. And so maybe I'm just going to be able to get away with making 1 flute stand right now. I thought I might need 2, but I think 1 will do it for now. I mean, that's a lot of dots. That's a lot of flutes. I don't even know if I have that many flutes. Something to aspire to. Okay, so my plan is to use 2 pieces, right? 2 pieces here, and in between, I'm going to cut some of this. This is a 2x2. It's actually 1 3/8 square, and this is redwood that I got, and I just have this left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little square of redwood that'll go in the corners, and that'll be about like that tall, about 2 inches tall. And then that'll separate these pieces, right? So that when they go together, they'll be separated by about that much, and then the dowels will go through the top piece, right, and then anchor into the bottom piece. And that'll hold the dowels really well when you set it up. And so now I'm going to drill the holes. I'm going to put these together, clamp them together, and I'm going to drill through one piece completely, and then I'll drill down into the bottom piece, you know, just a little, like 1/8 of an inch, just enough to hold the base when you slide the dowel in there. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I've got the two different sizes, you know, the 5/8 and the 7/8 for the center lines. Before I start drilling in my final piece, I'm going to do a test with the 7/8 bit, and this is just some scrap wood. I'm going to do a test in here and see how the dowel fits. Oh yeah, that is satisfying. And I do want them to be able to slide fairly easily, so that's awesome. That is like a perfect fit. It's almost like they're the same size. They are. So like I said, I'm gonna set the depth on this. So this is the bottom, this will be the bottom piece, and this will come down just into that piece, maybe not even halfway. And then that way, it'll just hold the dowel, but the dowel's not gonna go through. So I just did a test. This was the piece on top, obviously it's through, and then this is what I have on the bottom. And now the total depth of the wood is what's half, right? So 0.52, and then the depth of this is basically 0.2. So 0.52 to 0.2, so it's not even half, but it looks great. That's going to hold the bottom, and we're ready to rock and roll. So next, drill all these holes. Well, at least the middle two channels with the 7/8, and then I'll switch over to the 5/8 and drill the outside. Okay, here's what I have so far. Here's the top piece. That's a lot of holes. Do I even have that many flutes? And here's the bottom piece. So pretty much like I planned, just got enough of a relief in there to hold the flute. I'm gonna go ahead and seal these pieces, and I'm gonna take this off, and that is a job for the heat gun. Makes it easy, get on that. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna apply some of the polyurethane. Alrighty, my pieces of MDF are drying. I've got 20 small holes, 10 on each outer edge, and then I got 14 large holes, 7 in the center channels. So I've only got 4 pieces of the 5/8 and 2 pieces of the 7/8, and that's fine. I can go back and get more. This is all they had at Home Depot when I stopped in. That's the 5/8. So obviously I'm not going to have enough to put all of the dowels in there. However, I'm going to just get it started. So what I want to do is have about 6" above the top of the 2 pieces, and these 2 pieces, once they get sandwiched together, are gonna be 2 inches in the middle with a half on the side. So I'm just gonna count that as 3, even though it's not exact. 3 down below the surface, and then 6 up. So that's 9. So I can get, I think, 5 pieces out of each one of these. These are 48. So I should be able to get 5, right? Is that right? Yeah. 5 pieces at 9 inches. That's 45, so I can do a little longer. And then these I want to have sticking up about 8 inches. So that's 11. I need these to be 11. I've got 48, so I might just go like 12. So I'll have 8 of the 7/8, and I'll have about, oh, maybe I will have 20. We'll see. I think I might. 20 of those. All right, so I'm just going to cut them on the, whatever that thing's called. The circular saw, I guess. All right, well, night has fallen. It's over there. But I have got all the dowels cut and sanded, and I beveled the edges a little bit just so, you know, they're smooth. And now I'm going to hit them with a little lemon oil with a rag and just get them ready to assemble. And the lemon oil is nice. It's not toxic or anything. The fade does smell. It's not going to affect the flutes, but it'll just protect this wood. This is very dry wood, and I don't want it to split over time, so it'll just give a little coat of lemon oil on there. All right, so I've got my support pieces cut, and I had to round them, which is fine. I had to shave a little off so that there would be clearance in the end corner pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these with some wood glue, and I'm going to clamp that on top, and that's all I'm going to do for tonight. My phone is dying and it's getting late, so this will go on top of here like that, and then the dowels, of course, will go through somehow. I think they expanded with the oil, so I might have to jam these through a little. So these have, not only do the holes have a tiny bit of the urethane, but now these have a little oil, which I thought would expand it, but that's pretty tight. So I might have to just pound that down with a hammer or something. But anyway, that's going to go down. It'll sit, like I said, the bottom will sit in there. Let's see if that still fits. Yeah, they're a little these expanded a little bit more than I thought. So I'll tap these down, and then that's how high. Well, that's not how high. Let me see. Let's get an idea of how much. So that'll be sticking up about that high, which is plenty for a larger flute, and then the smaller ones will stick up like that, which is fine for the small and medium-sized flutes. Yeah, that's tight, but it'll go down with a hammer. So tonight I'm just going to glue these like that, and then I'll do the rest tomorrow. So stay tuned. Here's the finished product, or near finished. I actually have a few more of the 7/8 dowels to go in, and remember, these are 5/8 for the smaller flutes, the mid-tone, and these are 7/8. Now, I'm going to go through some of the flutes that I have on here just for reference. Here's our Northern Spirit A, and so these are all fitting on the 5/8. Here's a High Spirits C, Here's a Journey of Life B. Here's a Journey of Life A. Here's a C Symphony Flutes A. Here's a Wood Sounds A. Here's a Wood Sounds D, higher D. Here's a Lotus Flute A, another flute body A. This is a High Spirits, and this was the Spirit Flute, a C. I guess C, yeah, C major. Now on the middle row, these are all on the 7/8, and we're going to start here with the High Spirits E. So these are all on the middle. So here's a High Spirits E. Here's a Mad Max Easy Blow D. Fits well on there. Here is a Wood Sounds G. Wood Sounds G. Here is a Blue Star. That is a E, I want to say. Yeah, this is an E bass. So that's a bass flute. Going down from there, we've got Pat Heron D bass, and that fits on there pretty easily. And then I have a C from Blue Star, so this is the C, a C bass. So all the way, so these are both D's. We've got a couple E's, we've got a G, we've got a C, and then back here, this is an A from Blue Star, and of course the back row can accommodate any of the mid-sized flutes. Now, one more thing on this, I'm going to take this C off, and I've got a Blue Star A. You can see the difference in size there. So this is a Blue Star A. Now, it does fit here. However, that's getting pretty tall, and so I probably would not use this regularly for this low A. Although, if I made one of these a little thicker or longer, I'd be okay with it. But that's not even up to the first hole on that flute, so I think I'd like it to be going up at least another, maybe up to the third hole, you know, from the bottom. Although it's okay. I mean, it works okay. So that's the stand as it is. I think what I'm going to do is build another one because I learned some things on this one. What I'll probably do is go ahead, like you would think would be normal, and go from the bass, put basses in the back, and then mid-tones, and then do a row for the smaller flutes. I did discover that some of the smaller flutes, like I have an E Wood Sounds, I have a higher E, and I don't have it right here because it doesn't fit on the stand. That did not fit on the 5/8 dowel. So I did go ahead and buy, this is the 5/8, and then I bought some 1/2, and I bought some 7/8. And I think just because I can, and I also bought some extra 7/8 to finish this and to do another one. So I think I would probably do one row of 7/8, a couple rows of 5/8. Bye. A couple rows of 5/8, and then probably one row of 1/2 or 4/8, and then maybe one row of 7/16. You know, just for the tiny flute, or maybe not any. I don't think the 7/16 wants to participate anyway, so I'm going to leave them out. So I would do these three sizes: 7/8, 5/8, and 1/2. And I would do probably one row of these in the back, two row of these in the middle, one row of this in the front, and then have, you know, maybe have a little more room. I know this is pretty crowded. It works, but it's a bit crowded, and it's partially crowded because of the limitations, having to leave so much space here. But you can see, you know, birds are starting to do some bumping in the back, and from the middle to the front, there's a little bit of bird bumping, which I guess you could alleviate by turning these sideways, but I don't want to have to really think that much about it. It doesn't really bother me, but certainly you could leave a little more space. At the same time, that's one stand, and that is a lot of flute storage. So the footprint is pretty small. It's 1 by 2, 1 foot by 2 feet, and it's really solid, and I feel good about it. So thanks for watching this build, and I hope you learned something and you get something out of it. If you do, of course, keep liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in more music videos next time. All right, take care. I'll see you soon.